Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 29th of July. This is Saturday. We do have a 12 game main, or 13, I can't remember now. Looks like a 13 game main slate. Um, yeah, a little weather issues in New York, and then some major weather potentially in St. Louis. So we will have to pay attention to that. Um, Game time temps in a lot of places in the 80s, down a little bit from the 90s that we had yesterday. Handful of games have some wind blowing out. St. Louis, if they do play Kansas City, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, even Colorado, does have some wind blowing out. So it might be a good time to jump on Coors. Not really sure yet, but let's take a look at pitching for the first time this morning and get an idea of where we're going to look as the day goes on. At the top, we get Nola, minus 178 favorite against Pittsburgh. Wheeler just dominated this team yesterday. Nola's looked pretty good the last few, three out of the last four, sorry. Does have the K upside, Tampa Bay. A bunch of his starts recently have come on the road where he hasn't been as strong overall, but recently he's been pretty good. So I think we can go to Nola. I don't love the 11K price tag, pretty large jump, but for now he's definitely going to be in my pool. For those new to this video series, I aim to make my pitcher pool on main slates, 6 to 8 pitchers. The large slates 8. Some of the smaller ones I aim for 6. I've just found that those numbers kind of work for my process and how I build out my 150 plus lineups on a daily basis. We get Bailey Ober, minus 190 favorite. I don't think I'm going to go with Ober at 10-3. Was strong against Kansas City. First time faced him, he's been really great on the road. Been solid. Ks have come down a little bit. It's been more steady than anything. And like I mentioned with the weather, the wind's blowing out in Kansas City. I think it's just a better hitter environment than pitcher. And so I'm not going to mess with Ober at 10.3K at this point. And so looking at Paxton's going to be one of my favorite guys. San Francisco generally struggles against left-handed pitching. Paxton's been pretty freaking good this year for Boston. We are looking at, I actually don't see a line yet. I think we're waiting on the San Francisco pitching announcement. But I definitely like Paxton in the spot. Obviously, huge pitcher's park. Huge pitcher's park for Paxton, so I am very much interested in him. Wells against the Yankees. Strong K ability, but his walks are up. Does allow a lot of home runs. The Yankees have hit 7 of them in 17 innings against them this year. 7 home runs from the Yankees. Even with their struggles all year. 7 freaking home runs. Home run ball hasn't been as big of an issue at home. Ks are up as well at home, but I can't do it at his price tag the way the Yankees have hit him. Yu Darvish, minus 165 favorite, but I'm just not using Yu Darvish either. Coming off an atrocious start, which is weird because he dominated Philly and Toronto prior to that. He's given up a lot of home runs at home. I'm just not really interested in taking on Texas with mediocre pitching right now. And I would say that Yu Darvish falls into the mediocre category these days. So going down Logan Allen, I am very interested in Logan Allen. I do not see a line right now, but Obviously, he had a rough start against Kansas City, but prior to that, strong against Pitt. Uh, I'm going to pick on the White Sox just because there's a chance they move a couple bats and the lineup becomes really watered down as well. Not that that lineup was producing a ton anyways, so I'm very interested in Logan Allen. Hunter Brown interests me, dominated the Tampa Bay squad, uh, giving up just 2 home runs at home this year. I like him. His performances are kind of all over the place. He hasn't been great over his last 4, but I love the upside in the matchup, so I will definitely be using Hunter Brown. This is a conundrum for me. Bryce Elder was solid against the Brewers, only 2 strikeouts. That's kind of been the issue. His strikeouts have disappeared and his walks are up. So I'm not really sure I can go to Elder. I normally love picking on Milwaukee with pitchers, but Elder's recent trends are just not in a positive light for me. So I think I'm going to end up fading Elder. At this point, like, are we even going to have 8 pitchers to use? Pitching on the slate just is not enticing. Wu, we talked about him a ton here. He has some pretty bad splits against left-handed bats. That's why we were all about Minnesota at DFS Army that night. Uh, I'm not going to be using him against Arizona either. There's some dangerous left-handed bats in that lineup, so I have very little interest there. Taj Bradley has upside, but he does allow some home runs. That's the big worry for me in this matchup. Uh, Houston is a minus 140 favorite. Game total just 8.5. That's kind of telling me that maybe I should be considering Bradley. But right now, I am going to leave him on the outside looking in. But like I said, we do need pitchers to use on this slate. He might be one that gives us enough upside to be considered. Not really interested in much. Sheehan's just been getting rocked, so I'm not going to go that route. Disclafani has not looked great, and now they're going with openers in front of him. I don't think he enjoys that much, so I'm not going to be on him. Martin Perez against San Diego, no thanks. Clevenger, going to have to dig in. Uh, a simulated game. Yeah, he missed 6 weeks, so I don't really know what we're going to get out of him. I don't really love him as a pitcher, but uh, I do kind of like the revenge narrative against Cleveland, and I don't really think highly of the Cleveland offense. Uh, so if we get word that he's good to go 80, 85 plus pitches, then he's going to make my pool kind of reluctantly, but he will make it. Patrick Corbin, not really interested in Patrick Corbin on the road. Been pretty bad. Was actually solid against the Mets, but only struck out 1. So if he matches that game again, like, are we really going to miss out on his 10 DK points? I don't think so. Tyon with some big weather issues. If we find out that the weather is fine or is cleared up enough, I am interested in Tyon a little bit with the way that he's been pitching. Um, the game does have a 10 total, so like, it is super volatile. Uh, but he has thrown the ball really well over his last few, so I do have some interest. He'd be more like a 10% play if we get an okay or all clear weather-wise. Carlos Carrasco, intriguing enough for me um, to get maybe a 10% share at his price point, but he's been really bad outside of randomly dominating a strong team like Arizona, which was really weird to see. But I'm interested enough. Uh, I mean, overall, this pitching is just not good. I really don't have any interest in anybody down here. So, like, maybe we do have to go back and consider Ober. Um, I don't really want to consider Wells with how he's performed against the Yankees, but maybe he has enough upside to be in our pool. We're gonna have to make some uncomfortable decisions with some pitching on this slate. Either we're going to go super short pool or we're going to widen it and include some guys that we feel pretty gross about. I'm not really excited about that part, but that's part of the DFS and putting the puzzle pieces together. So there we have it. There's the first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to coaches, tools, optimizer, everything. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.